Have you ever had the feeling that your monitor just wasn't cutting it and you needed more space on your desktop, or that your gaming experience was just missing something? Well, this monitor might just be what you're looking for. And I accepted this review. By the way, thank you Titan Army for sending the monitor, because I reviewed their previous monitor, 32 inches 1440p 240Hz IPS panel, and it was a great product, especially for the price. So let's see this one. The Titan Army C49SHC is a 49 inches 144Hz 1080p 3840x1080 Super UltraWide VA monitor that sells at around $700, which is more or less the market value for these monitors right now. Although Titan Army is a fairly recent brand, so I think they would be much better pricing this monitor at around $600. Especially since this one comes with some caveats, but with a lot of cool features as well, like KVM switching with internet, reverse charging, and more. But well, let's get our hands dirty. As you see, this thing is huge. Look at this, Super UltraWide. In the box we have the monitor's feet, the monitor's arm, the manual, and a bag with several things, like the most common power cord, meaning that the power unit is inside the monitor, a USB Type-B to Type-A cable for KVM switching, and a nice DisplayPort cable. We also have a bag with screws that will be used to attach your monitor's base to the monitor's arm, and these ones that are meant for VESA mounting, to kind of extend the distance in between the monitor and the VESA mounting. In terms of assembling, the V-shaped base is a bit old school here, like in the previous monitor that I reviewed from Titan Army, and instead of the usual easy screw mechanism, we have 3 screws that we need to set properly in the bottom base. But I mean, you'll need to do this process just once, so it is not a big deal to me. Then you slide in the monitor's arm into the display, and that's it. And don't worry, because it will lock the monitor properly, so you don't really need to worry about dropping it, as the stand is pretty firm. In terms of design, the monitor doesn't really bring anything new, using the standard black for most of the monitor and red just for the back, and of course for the monitor's arm, with a little line in the bottom and a full top of it as well. One thing that I like here is that they changed from the big green punchy letters saying Titan Army to the more toned down logo, which I honestly enjoy much more. And I don't really know if they made this because of the comment that I made on the previous video review, where I told them that the Titan Army letters just had to go and the logo would look much better, but for me, it is definitely an improvement. And I also like the fact that we have this attachment in the bottom with the buttons. Design-wise, it looks cool to have it standing out a little with that gloss finish. This is my opinion, of course. As for the panel itself, it brings an 1800R curvature, which you might think is a lot, but as soon as you get used to it, it just feels natural for a monitor of this size. And by the way, in case you like RGB, this monitor doesn't bring any. And especially to me, this is a big plus, because having an RGB in most monitors, unless you're going for Ambilight or something like that, which really brings that ambient from the gaming, I don't really think RGB is necessary at all. So for me, it is a big plus. In terms of ergonomics, the monitor can be tilted from -5 to 15 degrees and swiveled by 15 degrees to each side, which is kind of standard. The total height adjustment is 9.5 centimeters or 3.7 inches, and the mounted monitor weighs around 12 kilograms, which should be around 30 pounds. In terms of inputs and outputs, things get interesting. We have the power connection to power up the monitor, of course, one HDMI port, one display port, one USB-C, one USB Type-B, two USB Type-A, and one 3.5mm audio jack. And I know that you noticed that RJ45 port there, and that connection is for the internet. With this monitor's KVM switching, you can just go and connect your mouse, keyboard, and of course your Ethernet cable to the monitor. And let's imagine that you have 2 computers here. Instead of just having one, you have 2 computers, one connected via HDMI and another one connected via DisplayPort. Now, as soon as you change computers, you need to go and connect your mouse and and keyboard to the new computer. But with KVM switching, you can just, let's imagine, change from HDMI to DisplayPort, and your mouse, your keyboard and your internet connection will be working out of the box in that same computer because you're using KVM. And if you connect another computer through USB Type-C, it's the same. If you just go connect your laptop through USB Type-C, you'll be, of course, having the same keyboard, the same mouse, and the same internet connection. Like a leather jacket man once said, it just works. And the same works with USB-C. But with USB-C, if you connect it to your laptop, for example, you'll have everything working as well, mouse, keyboard, internet of course, but you'll be charging your laptop as well at the same time. And if you don't really want to use KVM switching to charge your laptop, you could always use it to charge your smartphone while using the monitor, because it works. And by the way, I really like the magnetic cover we have for the I/O panel. It is really easy to set up and pretty smooth to take off or put on. And still inside the features, this monitor brings some small speakers that aren't even specified in the product page, maybe because they're quite bad, but with some tweaking they can sound decent. And some audio is always better than no audio at all, and I know that for sure. Let's hear.
Yeah, look at that pixelation, that's insane. The quality is so bad it hurts. Here is the same, here is the same. Yeah.
As for image quality, it's decent. We have a 144Hz 1080p VA display with good out-of-the-box picture quality and great color accuracy. But sadly, it is VA. And like any other VA panel, it has black smearing. If you're playing at 144Hz, you're mostly fine, as black smearing isn't much, but as you go into lower refresh rates or games with fast changes in between darker and lighter tones, you'll definitely notice it. Black smearing happens because of the way VA panels work. VA panels, which stands for vertical alignment, have slower pixel response time, especially when transitioning from dark to light shades. And while some VA panels are better than others, all VA panels have black smearing. But of course, the higher the refresh rate, the less you'll notice it. In this case, you can see the smearing, aka ghosting, in the UFO test, where you have the black trails around the UFOs. It isn't the worst I've seen, of course, but it is quite bad in the darker scenes, where the ghosting is easily seen. And sadly, the overdrive feature that usually helps in these scenarios doesn't really do much here. Now, let's forget the technicalities and go back to the real world. Does this make this monitor really unusable? Of course not. I've been playing games like Need for Speed Unbound, Doom the Dark Ages, Counter-Strike 2 and some others, and things were mostly fine, as you can see in this Counter-Strike 2 gameplay. But black smearing wasn't the thing bothering me the most. As soon as I got to know that this monitor was only 1080p, I immediately worried about pixel density. If you have a 27 inches monitor with the same resolution as a 24 inches one, it means that the 27 inches monitor has a lower pixel density, since it has the same number of pixels to cover a wider space. And the lower the pixel density is, the more you're prone to see the pixels when looking at the monitor, creating kind of an unpleasant experience. And this monitor is literally two 27 inches 1080p monitors glued together. This is literally it, hence why the resolution is 3440 per 1080. But again, I guess this isn't an issue in real-world scenarios, at least in most of them. All I had to do was distance myself a little from the monitor, and immediately made me notice less the pixel density because I was way far away, which made things look better, and since the monitor is huge, distancing myself a little was the logical thing to do. Just for you to understand, imagine going from this, which I believe many people won't do, going from this position to this position. Just going further a bit from the monitor makes things much better. In terms of quality, in terms of pixel density, at this distance, it is perfectly enjoyable. If you go a bit further, even further, it looks even better. I believe that this space should be it, around, let's say, 60 centimeters from this monitor, so make sure that you have a desk long enough. If you're playing like this, of course that you'll notice the pixels, because the pixel density is low, but as soon as you go back where you should be from the beginning, where you can actually see the whole monitor without moving your head too much, then it is perfectly usable and, believe me, perfectly enjoyable. But of course, if you are one of those people that loves to be like this on the monitor, then you'll notice the pixels. But what I meant before is that you can still perfectly enjoy this monitor even with its caveats. Because even though it has lower resolution and features a VA panel, the colors, the size and the aspect ratio end up compensating, still delivering a good user experience. And let's not forget that we're mostly talking about gaming here, but if you're looking at something to boost your workflow, this thing's awesome. You can easily have 2 or 4 windows, 2, 3, 4 windows opened at the same time, and you can read them all easily. This is just a poor example I made here, but as you can see, you can have Excel, a folder and Google Chrome opened at the same time, and you still have some space left. And if you're one of those guys that usually edit with your browser opened, always ready for search while you're editing, this is the monitor for you. You can easily have this space with the editing software, or this space with the editing software, and the remaining one for the browser. And believe me, it has such a huge amount of space that you can use even 3 windows open, no issues. And by the way, the panel does support HDR, and although it is HDR 400, which is not the worst one by the way, it is there and it is available. The same thing for adaptive sync that almost every monitor supports nowadays. And it works very well with both AMD and Nvidia GPUs. My experience? Well, for a matter of perspective, I have several monitors. One 34 inches IPS 1440p ultrawide, one 42 inches OLED 4K, another 27 inches one 1440p 240Hz OLED display, and some others. And I can say that after I increased the viewing distance, playing games with this monitor has been quite entertaining and immersive. And if you think most games nowadays don't support 32:9 resolutions, you're quite wrong. I've been playing games like Need for Speed Unbound, Cyberpunk 2077, The Alters, Starfield, Doom the Dark Ages, you name them. Even older games can be modded to support super ultra-wide resolution, so that's not a big issue. And many online games already support this format like Helldivers 2, The Finals, Counter-Strike 2, PUBG, Fortnite, and even GTA 5. And believe me, the list continues. Inside the online games I play, Path of Exile 2 was the only one supporting ultrawide, but not super ultrawide, which is sad as the extra field of view would be awesome in this game. So, like I said before, even though this is a 1080p PVA panel, the immersion created by the aspect ratio, curvature and size make it an enjoyable experience. And even though 144Hz are far from being top tier nowadays, they also help with the immersion and smoothness for those awaited gaming sessions. And to finalize, let's talk a bit about the buttons and the Titan Army OSD. That didn't change much from the last time I saw it. The buttons are of good quality, as always, but still old school, with each button having a specific control, and I do like that they move the buttons to the center instead of being on the right, because this monitor is huge, but I still think they need to ditch them out and use a multi-directional button. You wanna know why? Every time I need to mess with the settings for a while, my wrists will get sore. As for the OSD, well, as I just stated in my previous video, it is not that the OSD is bad, it is just odd. I know they want to follow the design and color schemes of the brand, but in my opinion, a higher definition and better structured OSD would look much better and make their brand look more professional at the same time. And those changed alongside with a newer omnidirectional button, yeah, it would make the OSD navigation much more pleasant. And don't get me wrong, the OSD has basically everything you need and it is actually quite fast and responsive, so I guess that a little design change would make it great. Still inside the OSD, I don't want to finish the video without showing you some interesting features, some interesting OSD features that Titan Army has. Like the feature that allows you to enable the crosshair in the middle of the screen so you can aim without scope. And the color even changes according to the background to always be seen. Or the FPS/Hertz counter that will even draw a graphic for you. Again, these aren't new features, but things that might be nice to have. Now, what would I change? Well, besides the OSD, the buttons, and so on, I guess that the only thing that I would change would be really the price. Because $700 is definitely a stretch for this monitor. I mean, for like $850, you can get a Samsung Odyssey monitor with like 240Hz and 1440p resolution. So more resolution, more refresh rate, and only $100 to $150 more. Now, if this monitor was $600, this would be a good deal. For $600 we have this one, and let's say for $700 or $750 we get this Pro version, this is just an idea, the Pro version of this monitor being 1440p and then 240 Hz. And for $700 or $750, that would be a nice deal. That would be a nice deal. Or of course, this monitor at $600, but this is just my opinion. So I have to say that even though this monitor is not such a huge deal as the 32 inches 1440p 240 Hz display from Titan Army that I previously reviewed, I'm looking there because the monitor is there. It can still be a good deal in some European countries where the difference in between this monitor and some Samsung Odyssey ones is just huge, like 200-300 euros. In that case scenario, it is a deal. But I just searched for Amazon, and in Amazon Spain, I could actually get for 800 euros, I could get a Samsung Odyssey monitor. And I mean, for 80 euros more, you can get 1440p and 240 Hz. And for a little bit more, you can even go OLED. So it makes no sense to get this monitor. This monitor is great, but it needs to go down to $600 or 600 euros. At that price, definitely a great deal, because otherwise you just go and spend 80 euros more and yeah, you just get a Samsung Odyssey. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you Titan Army for sending the monitor. And again, make this sweet little baby $600 or 600 euros, and I believe that it'll sell way more than you're selling right now. Because pricing aside, it is a great monitor, well built, FreeSync works fine, and it can definitely increase the immersion and workflow for people that are looking for a more affordable product in this scenario, in this super ultra wide scenario. So yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comment in the comment section and let me know what you think about the monitor, if you have super ultra wides or not, or if you think super ultra wides are the future. And see you in the next video. Cheers.